Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode, Beauty and the Beast. So a lot of stuff went down in this episode. Like usual, it's like, oh, we'll follow a certain lead, and it's like, oh, we'll take one step forward and then take two giant steps back. First, it was tracking down that guy who had connections to Muirfield. He was connected to Braxton. Essentially, he's the guy Braxton kind of learned about Beast from and everything. Him and that other guy that we meet in the episode, the one that originally ran away from Vincent because he was thinking Vincent was the beast that was after him. Because I'm sure, like, in their little circle, they didn't know about there being a multitude of beasts out there. I mean, granted, it's just Vincent now, and this super beast, who's apparently, like, super souped up, who's got he's stronger than Vincent, faster than Vincent, as well as has camouflage abilities as well. They're saying, like, this is the first supered up beast, but wasn't... I guess, like I said, I'm still kind of wondering what's the distinction between this and Liam. I guess it's because, like I said, Liam was originally a beast first, and then he got modified afterwards, whereas this person was already a modified beast. I think I kind of brought that up last episode, kind of bringing up that subject. So, like I said, because they talk about it like, okay, Liam wasn't like a souped up guy, but I guess it's in comparison, this guy is even bigger and badder than Liam is all I can really take from it. But we really didn't get too much of a reason why he exists. I mean, essentially, this was all kind of basically the makings of Muirfield coming back, which kind of bothered Vincent a lot because it's like Muirfield basically ruined his life. It led to all the people in his units, people he thought of as like brothers in arms, his other family. It led to them getting killed. So, obviously he has a sour opinion towards him, plus the fact that they made him into the monster he is now, that they basically ruined his life, that he's always had to live in the shadows for the past decade plus because of them. So, because he really wants to kind of dismantle it before he even really gets started, which granted, I guess it works out for him in an episode when that guy, he was kind of the scientist of the group, is the one who ended up dying, which is like, I'm like, why the hell did he leave the safe house? It's like, he got a text from someone. Was it because it was from someone he knew or whatever? It's like, why would you still do that? That's idiotic. Like, I don't care who it is. It's like, oh, these people are trying to protect me. I'll make sure I'll stay here. I mean, granted, he was kind of screwed either way because, I mean, I guess it actually worked out for them in a way, because if he had stayed there, maybe the beast would have found him with Heather and JT and would have killed them all. Because I guess because he went into the whole situation with Vincent and Kat using his that guy's blood to draw it in, knowing it was a trap. So it's kind of like, you kind of. So, like, I guess it worked out in that regard. I mean, not their regard, because basically it's like, oh yeah, we're kind of screwed in this department. So. But I've skipped over it. Like, a point I was trying to make earlier is, like, it wasn't really brought up why exactly it was brought up, this beast existed. I mean, obviously the experiments were brought back because basically Braxton wanted something to face a big threat. What that threat was, we don't know. It's like, but it did seem like there was some government sign off on certain things. It's, I don't know. It's like, you would think what I'm trying to understand is, did the government have anything to do with Muirfield from the beginning? I guess, Muirfield was just kind of a privately owned organization, so the government didn't... Well, no, because they were a part of the military and all that, got the experiment rolling through the military, so the government had to have some influence back then, too, as well. It couldn't just been Muirfield. They needed government funding to do what they did. That cost a lot of money, so... maybe they turned more of a blind eye back then, and maybe they weren't willing to this time. Maybe they were just like, okay, we know what we're getting into this time. We'll keep our eyes more focused. I don't know. It seems like the other subjects died from the experiments. It seems like this one that's still here is still the only one alive, because apparently Braxton told the others that it was dead. But it's like, why would you... I guess... what I can only assume is he kept it, as his secret weapon, but it got out of control, and so he's been looking for another beast to hopefully take care of him. It makes you wonder, how long has this situation been going on? Like, was it just a more recent thing they made the beast? Or has this thing been around a while now? It does make you wonder. But that's on that front of the episode. A lot of the episode deals with, them trying to make the decision, because they're like, okay, we can get all this, go back, keep the plan that we've always kept to try and clear Vince's name, and then we can be done with all of this. Which, granted, it's still kind of like, even when that's all said and done, there will always be more trouble. As you can see, there's someone else who's basically trying to restart Muirfield here. So it's kind of like, no matter what you do, there will always be another Muirfield, another person trying to create beasts and stuff like that around. So it's kind of always you'll always be drawn to it. Like, it will always draw you in, that world. It's pretty hard to escape from. Because they also had their plan B, which more so Vince's plan was basically get fake IDs and run away. But even then, it kind of going back to what I was just saying before, there's no getting away from it. Like, even if they ran, like, who's to say this beast won't eventually catch up to him? Because especially with the whole DHS thing, the whole videotape about what Vincent is, at this point in the episode, they still haven't watched it. I mean, even by the end of the episode, they still haven't watched it, so they don't know what Vincent is. But it's only a matter of time, because once they watch it, it's like, at that point, it's like, there's nowhere they could go. They can run forever, go nowhere in the world would be safe for them, because people always be like, oh, Vincent Keller, that monster. So, and Kat will always be, a target, because it's like, oh, she's the one with the monster. She's kept this secret this entire time, yada, 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 right? And, and what's interesting is we can get everyone's opinions about the whole, like, oh, running away. JT's heartbroken about it, because it means losing not just one of his best friends, both his best friends, because Kat's become a very important part of his life too. So it means losing both of them. There's also, like, after everything he's given up, like all he sacrificed, a normal life, Tess, his job, all for the sake of his best friend. And it's like, because in a sense, it's kind of like, in a certain way, it's almost selfish, because it's kind of like, with Vincent going, he literally has nothing. Vincent has basically been his life for the past decade plus, like, protecting him, from dangers like Muirfield and whatnot, helping him out with everything that they're doing. So without it, he really wouldn't have a purpose. And it was something that Vincent was like, yo, when we're done, I need you to go out and have a life. He's like, I am, like, literally your only friend. He's like, yeah, JT was like, no, I have other friends. He's like, no, you don't. He's like, yeah, I just, you take up a big part of my time. He's like, just go out, have a life. He's like, get back with Tess, dude. And he's just he's like, stop nagging me. Because basically JT wanted to spend time with him, because, like, yo, this might be our final mission together. He's having fun, because I guess, it's just kind of like, oh, here we are breaking into somewhere, and danger could be around in any corner, lives could be threatened. It's, kind of same old with the life you've kind of gotten accustomed to over the past while, And then you had Heather's reaction, which is very understandable, because it was like, she's literally lost every bit of her family because of Beast-related stuff. She lost her mom and dad, and now because of Beast stuff, she might lose Kat too. And it's like, oh, just let Vincent go and you can stay here. She's like, no, it can't work like that, because he needs me as much as I need him. I love him, and he loves me. And it's like, I feel like, honestly, more problems would arise if they didn't have each other. I mean, because, like, she always balances out. She brings forth more of the man inside of the Beast, for Vincent, because like she's always been that for him. She's always been his rock. She's always kept his humanity in check. So in that regards, but also because she just downright loves him, and she doesn't want to be separated by the man she loves. It's like when he was on the run and she wasn't able to keep in contact. And often it was just hard enough then, but, like, for the fact is that he will always be running, and they will barely be in contact, if contact at all, because if they got in contact, it just lead to them tracking him down and lead back to Kat and be a whole catastrophe thing. So in that regard, she wouldn't be willing to do that. But it's just like, you understand where Heather's coming from too. I mean, it was really nice though, because, like, even though she doesn't want that to happen, she still stole, like, those IDs from the hospital to give to them. So, in case things didn't work out. And which we find out with Tessa's conversation with the DHS lady, that things would never work out, because she believed Vincent, because she believed Tess about the whole Vincent thing. She's like, seeing Vincent's actions, the fact that he led him to Braxton, helped that security guy that, I mean, obviously, like, he kind of put him in that position to, first he kind of choked the guy out, made him almost die, and then ended up, resuscitating him. So obviously, yeah, that's kind of a gray area, but they get that he's trying to be a good guy, that he's trying to do the right thing, that he is trying to just clear his name. But she basically said, even if you were able to prove that he killed Hill out of, like, self-defense, the top dogs don't care. They want to take him down because like he killed one of us, and it's simple as that. Now it's kind of very interesting because you have Tess always being like, being adamant about like you go about things the lawful way, and then everything will work out. Trust the system. I mean, the whole point at the beginning of the episode when they were joining forces is like just do things the lawful way, and lying to each other and stuff like that. And it's just like to have it kind of backstab on, like backfire on them, being like, okay, even with the truth being what it is, that even if they find out the truth, able to prove it's like, oh, he killed Hill out of self-defense, they will still, DHS will still be coming after him hard. And they would, not just him, they'd also be trying, Kat in the same way because she's looked after him this entire time. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation, at the very end of the episode, especially, when Guy, their only leverage against, to capture the other beast, like once he died, it was just kind of like, yep, that plan's done. So all choice they had was to run away. And I kind of want to quickly go back onto it. Like, to one of my favorite parts is the fact is that talking to Tess about her reason, how she felt about the whole them leaving, and you have Vincent being like, yeah, I know you'd be super sad about Kat leaving. I mean, you wouldn't be too sad about me leaving because you've never been my biggest fan. And she's like, you're right, Beast, breaking the law and doing the things you do. I've never been the biggest fan, being a cop and all. But the fact is that you are who you are. The fact is that you love Kat, you make her happy, you protect her. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Beast, but I am of the man. And it's just like, oh, that's so heartwarming. It's like, oh, so sweet. And he's even good over her hug, and she's just like, oh, just gotta stop. I loved it because that is something you've always, like, she's always been kind of like a little standoffish when it came to Vincent. But you understand where she's coming from. Anyone would be like that, kind of caught in the craziness. I mean, granted, because JT's had a lot more time to acclimate to it than she does, because she has a different perspective of it than JT has. JT's coming from like, oh, this is my best friend and I've been doing it for years, so it's like he kind of got accustomed to it. But her, she kind of got thrown in because she kind of stumbled upon the truth way back when, and Kat had to convince her to just not spill the beans on it. So she because it's also because the fact is that she doesn't have that relationship with Vincent the way JT does. It's like, oh yeah, this is my best friend, so obviously I'm gonna do everything I can to protect him. If the case was like flipped and it's like, oh yeah, Kat was a beast, then I think after their long period partnership, I think she probably would. I don't know. I like to give her the benefit of the doubt because I don't think Tess would be so quick to be like, oh yeah, I have to do my duty and arrest you as a beast if it was Kat as a beast. So. Also found out in this episode that Kyle's been working with DHS. I was wondering because like the moment he walked up to Heather with the flowers and everything, I was like, why is he so calm? He's like, we need to talk. I was like, oh, he's handling this pretty good. And then he talks on the phone. I was like, oh, that's why you're working with DHS. So that sucks. Especially at the end of the episode when he gives up Kat and Vincent's the new identity. He's like, I know what you were doing. You were stealing those for Vincent and Kat. He's like, basically, you don't have to worry about it. Your life won't be complicated anymore. No matter what happens, I want you to know I did this because I love you. And she's like, what have you done? You don't even realize what you've done. And storms out. And it's like it's already too late because at the end of the episode, DHS catches up with them. And they get arrested. I was thinking they were going to get away because Vince is like, no, I'm second guessing us leaving. I thought they were going to leave before DHS gets there. And it's just like, oh, wow, we narrowly escaped DHS just because Vincent had a change of mind. Because they didn't want to leave. It's just kind of like they were left with no options. It's like push to catching the beast to help clear Vincent's name. All that was like down the drain. So it's like there was nothing left to do. This is like the only decent option because, like I said, lose situation. But it's like Vincent was like, no, I don't want to, don't want to leave behind the people they care about. It's like, especially with this situation with the beast, it's like them being who they are. They're the do-gooders. They have to do the right thing. It's like we can't run away from this beast situation. We got to help and stop it. Because it's not just our future on the line, it's other people's life. There's no telling how many people might be affected by it. So we still don't even have a name or a face to the beast. They did have they only knew them by experiment numbers, not by the names. But I'm very curious to find out who this beast is and like their reasons for doing what they're doing. I mean, obviously now it's just all about covering up their tracks, getting rid of everyone that kind of made them into what they are. But it makes you wonder, is it just going to stop there, or is this, like, what has this beast done to warrant the fact is that Braxton wants it dead. Like, did it just go nuts and just killed a lot of people wasn't supposed to? Like, or is it just kind of like in Vince's case where it's like, yo, we got to cover up some stuff? It makes you wonder, because that might be kind of like when it finally comes down to it, maybe that might be the final conflict. It's like, will Vincent be able to do what he needs to do? Will he be able to capture this person who's just like him? He's just like, I've been on a run. That basically he's the exact reflection of Vincent. Like, I've been on a run. I've been only killing the people who could end up exposing me or who are trying to kill me. You know, just like these people are its Muirfield as Vince's Muirfield was to him. You know, that he's just trying to live his life. But I feel like it's a lot more than that. Because it could be, like I said, it could be the fact is that it snapped and killed a lot of people, or it just could be Braxton being like, okay, you know, because it snapped, and now he's kind of like, okay, I need to cover the tracks. It needs to be taken care of. So I don't know. I feel like it's just because I'm leaning more towards now like that it's just outright more dangerous. Because I mean, obviously with its capabilities, and when they were talking about the fact is that its skin is like, I don't think they said it outright, but they make it sound like it has harder skin, like, you know, even guns won't really pierce its skin or something. I don't know, like it almost has like armored skin and even sharper claws, because it seems like, I don't know, it seems like the bodies are more ripped up than typical beast crimes, right? Or maybe it's just the same, I don't know. Some of those bodies look really ravaged up, so I'm still thinking about it. Why did that dude leave? And, you know, at the same time, shoot JT with a tranquilizer. But it's like, why did you leave? Like, who did you get the text? Like, who would the text have been from? It's like, oh, get out of there. You're not safe. Like, why would you trust that message? Who would really know where you were except for the beast? That's something he's got to think. But I don't know. Maybe he actually thought he could get away. I really have no idea what he was thinking. It was just idiotic on his part. But, yeah. I saw a preview of next week's episode. I won't really talk about it. Like, nothing, like, obviously there were some things. I was like, oh, I could talk about it. I'm like, it's not really worth talking about. What is worth talking about is the fact is that we're going on another week break. So the next episode won't be until September 8th. I find that very interesting. Like, they've done that for, like, and it's like the third episode they've done that for. It's like they put a week in between. I just find that fascinating that they're doing that again. Maybe they'll do that with the series finale. It's like, oh yeah, September 8th episode comes up, and then it's like, oh yeah, let's get another week, and then the series finale. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with it. It's not that big of a deal, but still, I find it. I'm sure they probably have their reasonings for it. I don't know what it is, but I found that fascinating that they're doing it like that. So, but I'm very curious to see how this will all end, especially with the way things are. What things are looking next episode, especially from there, but just like I said, at the end of it all, because I was thinking like their go-to plan would be like, oh yeah, we're gonna run away, but it's running away literally blew up in their faces this episode, so they literally have no other option. So it's kind of like, I don't know what they're gonna do, what it's all gonna come down to, and I'm very interested. But that's really all I want to talk about in this episode. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.